Never, never does a Christmas come that our family forgets the nobles. I'm not talking about the noble Christmas trees. I'm talking about the noble family who unexpectedly came into our lives 50 years ago and left us with memories that have endured time, as does the evergreens. It was the day after Thanksgiving, a cold, wintry Tennessee afternoon, when our family set out in search of pine cones and greenery for our Advent wreath. Our 4 children, ranging in ages 3 to 9, all bundled in mittens, stocking hats, boots, and warm coats, excitedly sang Christmas carols and chattered about Christmas. With a cold wind blowing outside and the hot air blowing in our station wagon, the windows began to fog up. They became instant artists. They giggled at each other's pictures, then would erase them to draw new ones. As Kimball Boyd, our 9-year-old, erased his, he was startled by what he saw through his clear window. Daddy, stop. Look, somebody lives in that old broken down house. There are some children, he cried. Sure enough, in the shadows of plenty were the signs of life from the house we thought had been condemned. Faint smoke curled from her precarious chimney, and there were 3 children out in the yard. They seemed to be looking for something. Kimball rolled down the window and asked, "What are you looking for, children?" One of the boys looked up. "Just kindling, mister. Just kindling. We ain't got no coal." And he went back to his task down in the snow looking for something. The children looked about the ages of ours. Our hearts stood still as we felt their pain. Daddy, that's not right, Daddy. That's not right. Can't we do something? Cried our 4-year-old Kathy. As we slowly pulled away, there was a hush over the car. So still you could hear a snowflake drop. With her challenging words, it was soon filled with talking, but no longer about what they wanted for Christmas. It was one of those magical moments in the life of our family when we completely forgot ourselves and thought of ways to help this family. It was more fun and much more exciting than anything we could have imagined. For sure, they decided they wanted to give more than a Christmas basket. Not that Christmas baskets are bad, they're wonderful. But they wanted more. They wanted to be friends, and they wanted them to know someone cared about them. Everyone had their own ideas of how to share what they had with this family. We baked goodies and boxed canned foods to go along with the clothing from their closets. They looked at the money we had been saving for Christmas presents. Why don't we buy coal with that money? Yeah, why don't we buy coal with that money? So we went to the coal yard, and we told the manager how much money we had and what we needed it for. The children told him their idea, and he wouldn't let them pay for it. He got so caught up in the spirit of giving that he told us he would make sure this family had coal for the whole winter. The next day, we found ourselves on the rickety steps of a sagging porch. We felt little eyes peeking through the curtainless windows. A large, weathered woman came to the door and cautiously opened it. "Hello," Kimball said. "We're the Coburns. We saw your children looking for kindling yesterday and wondered if you could use this coal. Her lips quivered as she nervously smiled and in her own way thanked us. Oh, one more thing. The manager also said he would be bringing you enough coal for the winter. She told us they were the Noble family, a grandmother, 5 young'uns, and her. The young'uns from 2 years old to 12 years old. We could tell life for them had not been easy. She invited us in. Her young'uns came out of hiding, and the grandmother appeared from the kitchen. The children quickly resumed their positions around the stove, trying to keep warm. She yelled at them, "Let the company come by the fire. Don't you got no manners?" We had shoes and coats. We didn't need that fire nearly as much as they did. The children were eyeing each other, wondering who was going to speak first. After a few minutes, our son Collie told one of the boys about his size. "I brought some shoes. I think they might fit you. You want to try?" He looked down at his bare feet, and he looked back up, and he said, "Yep." And about that time, our shy little 3-year-old Carrie Beth took the hand of one of the little girls, and she told her, "I've got something for you, too." 8 giggling children ran down those rickety steps to our station wagon to get their gifts, some with shoes and some without, but all were warmed with the kindling of compassion and budding friendships. Our friendships did grow beyond the Christmas basket. It was in giving completely of ourselves, not expecting anything in return, that we received the greatest of gifts from the Nobles. It came when one of the little Noble girls, 4-year-old Mary, came for a visit with us. She had never seen a real bathroom with a sink and a toilet and a bathtub. She had never taken a bath in a bathtub, but we could tell she wanted to. We filled the tub with water and bubbles, and you could hear the squeals all over the house from the girls playing in the tub. When it was time to get out, I dried her. I brushed her sweet-smelling, naturally curly hair and slipped one of Kathy's nightgowns on her. She ran to show the girls, not realizing she was running to a mirror. She saw herself. She stopped in her tracks and stood absolutely entranced by her reflection. She had never seen herself. She ran her fingers through her hair and said with all honesty, "Ain't I pretty? Ain't I just the prettiest thing you ever did see?" You see, our gifts came unexpectedly from a child of humble dwellings. It wasn't wrapped in shiny tinsel and ribbons, but it was the prettiest gift we ever did receive. It was wrapped in hope and joy, in trust, in love. It gave our family a gift of compassion for all God's children for the rest of our lives. This is what Christmas is all about. It's not just a day, or 12 days, or 365 days. It's a lifetime. It never goes away when we let it live in us. It's the breath we breathe, giving us a reason for being and believing. It's a special feeling on a silent night when the world around you is quiet. You look up in the sky for the brightest star to guide you. Let Christmas live in me, you pray. When it lives, there's love. When it lives, there's hope. When it lives, there's joy to the world. So live in me. When we hear the babies cry, he's the gift of God to be someone who lives for others. Christmas, live in me. You've heard my message of Christmas lives in me. And now I want you to hear Kimball sing it. I loved hearing him write it. It's the gift for you this Christmas Sunday.
Christmas live in me, be the breath I breathe, give me a reason for being, I want a faith to believe, I'm seeking that silent night, that star in the sky to see. I'm looking for a new life. Christmas live in me. When it lives, there's love. When it lives, there's hope. When it lives, there's joy to the world, so live in me. Hearing that baby's cry, the gift from God to be someone who lives for others. Christmas live in me. Christmas live in me.